Hey, what's up? Lightboltjoe here. Today we are going to discuss the 2011 action film X-Men First Class. This is directed by Matt Vaughn. Matthew Vaughn we know and love. He did Kick-Ass. He did Kingsman: The Secret Service. He did Kingsman: The Golden Circle. Like, Matthew Vaughn, technically, he did Kick-Ass in 2010, and then he did X-Men First Class right after that. We love Matthew Vaughn. Matthew Vaughn has an incredible style of mixing emotion with action sequences. Amazing. That's why this film was incredible. And I remember seeing this 10 years ago in the theaters with friends. It was mind-blowing because it was unlike anything we've ever seen before. So this is a film that takes place in the 60s, primarily in 1962, but it starts out in 1944 Poland. Now, the last time we saw 1944 Poland was the very beginning opening scene of 2000's X-Men. So now we have the origins of Magneto as the opening sequence. Kevin Bacon plays this Nazi scientist who kills Eric Leshner's Magneto's mom to like spark more rage in him, to get him to do more of this metal trick kind of a thing, this mutation that he has. So Eric's quest now is to find Kevin Bacon's character to kill him in revenge for killing his mom. So in the process, he thinks he's alone. He thinks he's the only mutant in this big world. He doesn't know that other mutants exist until Charles Xavier comes into play. Now, Charles Xavier is a kid when Eric Leshner is a kid in 1944, but he lives in Westchester, New York. Mansion all to himself with some servants. Parents are nowhere to be found. But then Raven, aka Mystique, comes into effect, and he kind of takes her in as like his sister in a sense. So like, he says you never have to hide again, you never have to go hungry again, you never have to worry again, because Mystique is blue-skinned, but she can, change her appearance to mimic anybody. They go off to Oxford together. He becomes a teacher, eventually a professor. He says something like, you can't become a professor unless you actually have a teaching job, something like that. But he studies mutations in genomes to figure out what he and Raven can do, but also realizes that they are not alone. Rose Byrne plays a CIA agent in this. Love it. And she is then tasked to find, certain arms deals of putting nukes in Turkey, which is what kind of sparked the Cuban Missile Crisis between Russia and the U.S. in 1962. JFK did a bunch of speeches about it, things like that. So it turns out mutants were behind the Cuban Missile Crisis this whole time. I like that little history thrown in. So Rose Byrne sees mutants. She tracks down Charles Xavier to get his take on mutations, but he knows that she's already seen them, so she already has the answer to her questions. So then they form a team. They go out gallivanting to try to stop Kevin Bacon's character and company from, doing whatever they're doing. But in the process, Eric, Michael Fassbender's character, is still trying to kill Kevin Bacon's characters. And that's when Charles and Eric finally meet in the water, in the sea, as Charles grabs onto him and he says, you have to stop. You're going to kill yourself. You're not alone. But he's doing this in his mind. And Eric, releases himself. They both, swim waiting for rescue. And then Eric has this moment of clarity. He's like, I thought I was alone. I didn't know anybody was like me. And Charles looks at him and he's like, you're not alone. And it just gets me every single time because of their falling out and they're getting back together, falling out. Charles and Eric are two sides of the same coin when it comes to mutant respect. Like, Charles cares for mutants, but he cares for humans as well. Eric does not care for humans, but Eric cares for mutants. So they get a band of mutants together. Alex Summers is the older brother of Scott Summers. I figured this out. I had a question in the last review, like, how did Scott meet Professor Xavier in 1981? If I thought he was in First Class, but he wasn't in First Class. His elder brother was. But then again, the timeline kind of changes a bit because, like, Scott can't meet Professor X in 1981 if he then meets Professor X in, I think, the next movie, Days of Future Past. Again, we have to confirm this, get the timeline correct. We'll figure it out. But, yeah, so it was fun having Rose play the CIA agent, who unfortunately gets her mind wiped. Damn you, Charles. But, I liked Jennifer Lawrence's Mystique. It was very broody kind of a thing. More brood than the other Mystique we've seen in the past. Nicholas Holt's Beast was pretty awesome. Banshee was cool. Angel's cool. Zoe Kravitz playing Angel. Like, you have these different mutants, like, here and there, but we didn't really see that much of them, you know, moving forward. I think Alex's character of Havoc, I think we see him in future ones, but we'll see. But you know, on the beach in Cuba, you know, and Magneto pushing a bullet away, and that's what severs, you know, Charles's spine. It causes his paralysis. Like, we get the little, why is Charles in a wheelchair? It's because of Magneto. Technically, it wasn't Rose Byrne's fault, the CIA agent's fault. It was Magneto who deflected the bullet, and it shot into Charles. So it's like cool getting those little informations, but like still like, what happens next? What happens and more, right? So it's good that we have 4 films within this cast. But Dark Phoenix was a little weird. I know we talked about that when we saw it. I liked its wrap up, but like I gotta see it again just to like get more clarity because I'm going through all of these as well. And I decided, not that it really matters, but it matters to me. X-Men films we're going to talk about, then we're going to go to the Spider-Man films, then we're going to go to the Fast and Furious films, because I realized that there's 2 seasons of the animated series on Netflix I still haven't seen, and I already talked about Fate of the Furious, which is the 8th film, and something else. Did we talk about? Oh, Hobbs and Shaw we talked about. So like I want to watch them in order again. I want to talk about them. I want to get my memory going. I got all of Brian's cars up on my wall, and some of Don's cars as well, but like, I want to see these movies again. So we're good for these marathons. It's winter. COVID's still in the air. Can't go to my local Dave & Buster's as it's still killing my soul. But we're good. We're good. Mucho mahalo.